call this special City Council meeting for fiscal year 2016 budget submission, Wednesday, May 13th at 7 p.m. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the council who is here, and that is Jim Oliveira from Ward 1, Second Vice President, and Ward 2 Councilor Steve Martins, Ward 5 Councilor Kerry Ribeiro, sorry about that, Kerry Winterson, I have the Ribeiro in the head. From Ward 3, Henry Bousquet, Ward 6, and First Vice President of the City Council, Joe Lopes, Councilor at Large Linda Morad, Councilor at Large Naomi Carney, Councilor at Large David Alves, Councilor at Large Deborah Coelho, and Ward 4 Councilor Dana Ribeiro. I would ask now Councilor Alves to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Councilor, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the People's House. I would ask the clerk to read the communication.
Mr. President, item 1 is communication. Council President Gomes to City Clerk Farias requesting that a special City Council meeting be called for Wednesday, May 13th, 2015 at 7 p.m. for the submittal of the FY16 City of New Bedford budget.
Motion received and placed
Second.
on file.
Motion to receive and place on file by Councilor Alves, second by Councilor Winterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I will now, at this time, designate Councilor Oliveira from Ward 1 and Councilor Carney, the Councilor at Large, to bring the mayor to the chambers. Thank you. We will take a brief recess. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? We're back in session. Councilor Oliveira.
It's my esteemed pleasure to announce to you and your colleagues in the City Council, the Mayor of the City of New Bedford, Jon Mitchell.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Let's get down to business. Thank you, Council President Gomes, honorable members of the City Council, department heads, invited guests, and citizens of New Bedford. I am pleased to stand before the City Council tonight to present a municipal budget for the City of New Bedford for the fiscal year 2016. The annual budget is a reflection of our community's values and the circumstances to which the city must respond in the coming year to position itself for success in the years ahead. The challenge this coming year is to steer the city through what continues to be rough financial waters, which first became tumultuous with the financial crisis in 2008 and have not entirely calmed. The FY 2016 budget addresses the stark fiscal realities that we face this year with the same simple and straightforward values that have served us well to this point, namely that we make funding decisions based on the merits and never shirk from tough decisions. And then secondly, we continue to make the most out of every resource by identifying new efficiencies and cost-saving measures. This year, this means that the only prudent course is to reduce operating expenses across departments in order to afford increases in areas over which the city has little or no control. The city faces a challenging fiscal reality for the coming year, chiefly because mandatory increases in non-discretionary areas and unfunded mandates have gone up. And in plain English, these are expenses over which the city has little or no direct authority. Almost in every case, they are governed by state and sometimes federal law, and they are driving up the cost of local government. Nearly 73% of the general fund is predetermined by state mandates and regional agreements, and you can see that depicted here on the pie chart. Revenue has not kept pace with these cost hikes. State aid has remained relatively flat, going up only 1.6%. And the ongoing expansion of our local economy has yet to be translated into sufficient revenue growth in property tax revenues, a situation that is not unusual during the early stages of a recovery. This restrained revenue forecast required us to redouble our efforts to target those areas where increased funding was an essential need. This will mean, in essence, that the department enhancements needed to be deferred wherever possible, vacant positions eliminated, and reductions instituted across the city government in order to fund mandatory increases in pensions, health care, in a restrained school budget, and state assessments. So let's talk a little bit about the key drivers. Let's understand why this is happening. The FY16 budget was shaped by three significant factors that combined to produce a challenging dynamic and required us to make these difficult choices, all to ensure that the spending plan maintains core operations and meets the needs of our community. First, non-discretionary items and unfunded mandates are causing significant strain on the budget. The growth in the city's obligation to charter schools in particular is growing and is exacerbated by the state's failure to meet its statutory obligation to partially reimburse localities' costs. A statewide shortfall of $53.6 million in charter school reimbursement in the charter school reimbursement account means that the city will be shortchanged by about $1.6 million, while the mandatory assessment will increase by $1.5 million. In addition, retirement and health care costs will increase by $3.9 million, and debt service and lease payments will grow by about $1.1 million, due almost entirely to old debt that is going from short-term debt to long-term debt. So everyone needs to understand this. Everyone who's listening to this needs to understand that we have little or no control over these cost centers, and that is not an excuse. That is not to pass the buck. That is just the reality that we're dealing with right now. Second, baseline revenue growth is insufficient to offset the growth in non-discretionary items and meet the city's evolving needs. City departments identified $2 million in new unmet needs, and the school department requested an $8 million increase to its budget over FY15. Neither of these requests was doable in the current environment. Third driver is the federal SAFER grant, which funds fully 63 firefighter positions, which will expire in the middle of FY16, beginning of the calendar year. The city initiated a comprehensive study of the fire and EMS systems in FY 2015, and the final report of this study, which will be critical to the future of our fire department, is due out early in the next fiscal year. The city has applied for a SAFER grant renewal that would fund 31 positions for an additional 2 years as a bridge toward implementing that study. We have pursued this grant and have taken the difficult step of budgeting the cost of absorbing the remaining firefighters onto the city budget, all to avoid layoffs and to promote public safety. The significant cost of picking up the remaining firefighters as the SAFER grant expires, however, will be further exacerbated by the recent state arbitration award for the firefighters union, which will increase baseline personnel expenditures by yet another $1.8 million in the coming fiscal year. Here again are costs for which the city has little or limited control, limited or no control. Many in our city continue to fight each month to make ends meet, paying tax, insurance, and utility bills that allow them to remain in their homes, and many of these people are seniors. We must do all we can also to ensure that small businesses are not overburdened by heightened tax bills. And we also must make the hard decisions necessary so that New Bedford does not add itself to the list of cities across the country and here in Massachusetts that are teetering on the cliff of insolvency. We're not going there, and not going there so long as I'm mayor. The FY16 budget includes a number of difficult measures that will be implemented to maintain affordability for all residents and competitiveness of our businesses by doing the following: eliminating 13 vacant positions, reducing agencies' line item budgets, a one-year deferral of scheduled step increases for management employees, and the implementation of a long-term hiring freeze intended to maximize savings and identify additional efficiencies over the course of the next year. No agency in city government was held harmless from the reduction exercise, and the FY 2016 budget benefits from our continued efforts to identify efficiencies and improve municipal operations. These initiatives range, as you're familiar with, from the identification of less expensive energy alternatives to business process improvements. Let me just name a few of them. The combination of recent power purchase agreements for alternative energy and the conversion of the city's outdoor lighting to LED technology will reduce electricity expenses by about $1.07 million in general government and the school department. Additional reductions may be expected in future years as the citywide energy conversion program is implemented in the city's offices, schools, and other facilities. Recently concluded labor agreements with the city's 3 unions allow for biweekly pay and mandatory direct deposit. The consolidation of the city's paydays and implementation of this paperless deposit system is long overdue, and as simple as it sounds, it'll result in significant savings throughout the organization. Thanks to the City Council's authorization of the FY15 capital program, the city is currently implementing Voice over Internet Protocol telecommunications, VoIP as it's called. This program will allow for enhanced communication services and reduce the city's phone bills by $70,000. Looking forward, we must continue to guard against the potential risks to the city's fiscal health. For example, changes to the city's healthcare program have resulted in significant savings for long-term retiree liabilities. Although the most recent actuarial evaluation report showed a remarkable 25% reduction, the city has yet to implement a reliable program to reduce long-term liability, which is currently estimated at $424 million. OPEB liability is huge for this city, and we've made great strides, but we still have a long way to go. The City Council's recent approval of an OPEB trust is a welcome, positive step in that direction. It makes a lot of sense. However, action will also need to be taken at the state level to achieve meaningful reform to bring retiree cost benefits down to a more manageable level. The city also must be prepared, of course, for the unexpected. My administration has been committed to establishing and maintaining a robust stabilization reserve, increasing the fund's balance by 85% since 2012, and the City Council, for its part, deserves the credit as well because it has been fully engaged in this process. Our collective approach has been instrumental in the city securing a AA- bond rating from Standard & Poor's, the highest bond rating in the city's modern history. That is something to be really proud of. As hard as it's been, we are making the right long-term choices for the city. Now, let me just turn to the chart that is furthest from me. The impact of the reductions in efficiencies is evident throughout the budget. With little revenue available to support the increased resource requirements, the FY16 budget target resources primarily toward mandated targets resources primarily to mandated expenditures. A $3 million plus increase in public safety agencies expenditures, which again is the result of the collective bargaining obligations and the expiration of the SAFER grant, was offset by a $479,000 reduction in the city's non-public agency budgets, and as noted above, funding for the school department is proposed to fall within that school spending requirements, increasing about $2.4 million over last year. Fixed costs such as health insurance, life insurance, and pension contributions increased by $3.3 million, or roughly 5.2%. This reflects the ongoing challenge involved in providing health care and pensions for the city's employees and retirees. In addition, debt service increases by almost $900,000 due entirely to the maturing of pre-existing short-term debt, as I noted earlier, into longer-term debt. The big part of that is the bond for the Keith Middle School. Mandatory assessments continue to account for an increasing share of the city's resources. From FY10 to 15, the cost of funding charter schools, and that's, if you look at the state and county assessments, the bar that is farthest to the right, about 90% of that is charter school costs. From FY10 to FY15, the cost of funding charter school payments increased by $5.03 million, or 204%. This trend continues in FY16, with the city's charter school assessment increasing another $1.5 million, or 15, even though state reimbursements declined by some $8,000. It's going down. The city's assessment for New Bedford Voc Tech also increased significantly, with support rising about 12.3% in FY15, and you note also the other regional assessment, which is the refuse district, which ticks up almost 2%. Fixed costs and mandated assessments will account for $97.6 million, or nearly 33% of general fund expenditures in FY16, while net school spending requirements will account for another $118.8 million, or 39%, meaning that nearly 73%, do the math on the pie chart, of the city's budget has been predetermined for the city. On the matter of the school department, it is important to note, as it has drawn considerable attention in the last couple of weeks, that my proposal will continue to support the ongoing effort to reform the district, as it must. The funding of the school district is an investment in the city's future. Let me make clear what the net school spending figure reflects. Net school spending, which all of you know is the state minimum level of funding for the district, which for this coming year was $117.8 million. The proposed school budget also includes, however, an additional $1 million, which is the amount that the state requires a school district to carry over for the next year for having fallen behind on net school spending the previous year. In other words, if you fall below net school spending one year, that amount has to be carried forward to the next year. However, in the last 20 years, New Bedford ordinarily has not abided by this rule, but I believe we should adhere to the law, and that should be included as part of our net school spending calculation. I also should note and make clear that the school department's budget is larger than the $118 million reflected in the budget document that is being submitted to you, because it does not include the use of this present year's FY15's surplus for next year's budget items. As reported earlier this week, the school department is projecting a surplus in its FY15 budget of approximately $1.6 million. Rather than having a surplus roll out into free cash at the end of the year, I believe we should use that surplus for one-time expenses in the following school year's budget, this coming year. Among other things, this could be used to pay for the new textbooks proposed by the superintendent, which are sorely needed. Over the past several years, the city has engaged in strenuous evidence to forego tax increases, with the 2015 representing the first year the city increased its real estate levy outside of new growth since 2010. However, the ongoing demands placed upon the general fund, especially by mandatory assessments and pension and benefit costs, will put more pressure on the levy. My administration will continue to work to identify ways to mitigate the impact of the city's revenue needs on our residents, including the identification of additional efficiency measures over the course of the year. We're at it all the time. All right, so let me offer a few concluding remarks in the hope of establishing some perspective on all this. And when folks are listening to budget talks on TV, sometimes it's hard to follow all the numbers. So let me see if we can all step back and see what this means. This is a situation that will and is testing our patience. We want the progress we've made as a city in the last few years to be matched by an enhanced capacity to afford more. It frustrates me that money continues to be tight, despite all the efforts to streamline city government and all the progress the city has made, all the tangible progress and intangible progress we have made. It frustrates all of us. The key for us now is to understand that the effort to remake our city is taking shape, and it will pay off if we persist. Over the past several years, we have all worked hard. The department heads you see here, the people that work for them, the school committee, the city council, all of us together have been hustling constantly to improve the city's quality of life and the city's overall image. And it has resulted in a number of reforms and other measures that have made material improvements to the city's operations and the residents' quality of life. The opening of 3 brand new parks in the last year and a half, Custom House Square, Rivers End, and Haskell, as well as the renovations to our major parks, Buttonwood and Brooklawn in particular, have really made a difference in those neighborhoods in terms of elevating their quality of life. We've overhauled the trash system in the city, of course, and it's more efficient, it's better financially for the city, and it makes the city look neater. That's a significant change in the way the city does business. Our alternative energy programs have garnered national acclaim. The Wall Street Journal says that New Bedford derives more electricity per capita than any city from solar than any city per capita in the United States except Honolulu. And Honolulu doesn't get the snow that we get. Ongoing improvements, again, I mean, these are major accomplishments. Ongoing improvements at the city's parks and the streetscapes and all the trees we're planting and all the little things that we're doing to clean up the place are making a big difference. The improvements at the zoo, the improvements on every street corner in the city, making a big difference. Crime is down citywide, and our efforts to bring more effective and professional management to city government have continued to bear fruit, again, including achieving the high bond rating that we have. So the city, and we are also, of course, gaining traction in our effort to deliver excellent educational services to our children. And we have made real progress, especially, most notably, in greatly improving, in a very short amount of time, the dropout rate at New Bedford High School, which has been an intractable problem, and success has been made very rapidly in the last couple of years. The economy here is gaining momentum. The city's major businesses have generated, major and minor businesses have generated a rising tide of job creation, and the Massachusetts Department of Labor reports that the city's workforce has grown some 5,000 jobs since 2011. Unemployment has dropped 2.4% since 2 years ago in the city. These are real strides of progress. Our continued efforts to promote the city as a business destination are producing results, and the development of the city's port as a real industrial major American port is paying off. The fishing industry is starting to stabilize, and cargo has doubled in the last year, which is huge. So yes, as is typical in the early stages of an economic recovery, the city's job growth has not yet resulted in significant changes to property values. And yes, reasonable state reforms are very necessary to address the squeezing pressure of charter school funding and retiree obligations and a number of other mandates. But just because there are bumps in the road doesn't mean we're on the wrong road. Without question, we are on the right road, and we need to stick with it. So let's deal with those bumps by making the tough but wise choices now. Choices that balance our city's need for effective services with our ability to afford them. It isn't easy. What we're doing, the business we are in, is not easy. We do it because we love this city, and even if and none of us are going to get rich doing what we're doing, and none of us are might not get the acclaim we want, and things aren't going to happen overnight. We do it because we love this place, and we need to persist. That is the key, and that is our job. And that is what our residents rightfully expect from us. And I will submit that is what the budget I'm proposing to you tonight reflects. And so I thank you for your attention and your consideration tonight. And I look forward to work together with you in the weeks ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I would ask the clerk to read the orders.
Mr. President, the orders are: item 2 is an order appropriating $283,910,976 from ordinary revenue and municipal receipts of fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2015 and ending June 30th, 2016 for payment of current expenses of various municipal departments. Item number 3 is an order appropriating $787,960 in 12 equal monthly increments from airport receipts of FY16 in the airport budget. Item 4 is an order appropriating $20,384,315 in 12 equal monthly increments from wastewater receipts of FY16 in the DPI wastewater budget. Item 5 is an order appropriating $11,841,935 in 12 equal monthly increments from water receipts of FY16 in the DPI water budget. Item 6 is an order appropriating $887,520 in 12 equal monthly increments from the enterprise fund receipts of FY16 in the downtown parking account. And item 7 is an order appropriating $20,000 now standing to the credit of the account of CCDA traffic handicap parking as follows: $0 to Commission for Citizens with Disabilities salaries and wages, $20,000 to Commission for Citizens with Disabilities charges and services, and $0 to Commission for Citizens with Disabilities supplies and materials.
Motion to adopt the orders.
Second.
It should be a motion to
refer
refer to the Quasi Committee as a whole. Thank you, Councilor Morad, seconded by Councilor Winterson. Roll call vote.
Councilor Alves?
Yes.
Councilor Alves?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Bousquet?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Carney?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Coelho?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Gomes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lopes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Martins?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morad?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Oliveira?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ribeiro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Winterson?
Yes.
Yes. Pass 11-0.
Passes 11-0. Before we adjourn, I would ask for a motion to, on the first 7 days of the month, as you know, we have a rule that we don't hold meetings. Just in case they're needed during these budget sessions, I'm asking for us to waive the rules in case those dates are needed. So a motion to do that would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Lopes.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Coelho. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Nothing more before us. A motion to adjourn would be in order by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Winterson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Have a great evening, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting's adjourned.
Hello, everyone. Happy 20th anniversary to us! That's right. New Bedford Cable Network has been on the air now for 20 years. Over the years, we've covered some memorable events like the visit from Mother Teresa, the Olympic torch relay, the World Series trophy. Hey, wait a second. We need to get the Super Bowl trophy down here. Anyway, we broadcast live events like election night coverage from Channel 95 and the mayoral press conferences on Channel 18, plus great coverage and commentary of high school sports on Channel 9. And I'd like to thank all the people who lent their talents to making us great. I especially want to acknowledge these two, Dan Cabral and Sue Richard, who've been here, can you believe it, for the entire 20 years. What are you thinking? You've been here every step of the way throughout our growth and helped to make us who we are today. And thank you to the viewers for watching and making us your choice for city information and entertainment. Yeah.
Can we have some cake now?
Okay! Happy anniversary!
Nice.
Yes, go! Yes!
No. Oops.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.